There were 5 consoles that helped transition console gaming into the 3D era. Sega Saturn was the third of those 5 to be released. It would be the successor to the popular Mega Drive, known only in North America as the Sega Genesis. While Saturn would triumph over the Panasonic 3DO and the Atari Jaguar, Saturn failed to keep up with the momentum of the Nintendo 64 and the console that would end up dominating the 5th generation, the Sony PlayStation. The Saturn suffered a botched North American and European launch, a lack of strong first-party titles around the world, notably missing from their lineup an original main entry Sonic title, the disagreements between Sega of Japan and Sega of America, the initial price of the Saturn when compared to the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64, and the policies of then Sega of America president Bernie Stolar, who was not all that enthusiastic of the Sega Saturn to begin with, and also severely limited what titles could be localized. But there was one thing that Sega Saturn did achieve that perhaps no other console, past or present, was able to achieve. To help advertise the Sega Saturn in Japan, a marketing campaign was launched featuring a new mascot. A mascot who commanded respect and commanded that you must play Sega Saturn, Segata Sanshiro. Segata Sanshiro is a spoof on the character Segata Sanshiro from the Akira Kurosawa film of the same name, portrayed by Susumu Fujita. Segata Sanshiro's name is also a pun, as the name can also be said as Sega Sanshiro, which means you must play Sega Saturn. Segata Sanshiro would be portrayed by Hiroshi Fujioka. Fujioka is no stranger to roles of powerful fighters that appeal to all audiences, as he was already famous for the role of Takeshi Hongo, the original Kamen Rider from 1971. Fujioka was drawn to the pitch of Sega's mascot being more enigmatic in his demeanor. Fujioka also claims that he helped contribute to the development of the Segata Sanshiro character, building on the initial parody of Segata Sanshiro idea. Developed over the course of the summer of 1997, Segata Sanshiro would make his debut in November 1997 to help advertise the release of Sonic R.
野球しようぜ。
オッケー。
行こう行こう。お前ら今日はやったよ。
任しとけ。
Segata Sanshiro。通れよ。ほら。
Segata Sanshiro。
セガサターンしろ。
音速ハリネズミソニックのレースゲームソニック R。
セガサターン。
And that would be the basis of all Segata Sanshiro's appearances. He would appear in any typical real-life situation, assess the situation, and then use his raw, limitless power to eliminate any doubt that you must play Sega Saturn. The game, or games that were being advertised, determined where Segata would end up, and how he would convince the incidentals to play Sega Saturn. Running around a skating rink barefoot without using a stuntman, breaking 10 roof tiles with my head, punching an extra large Saturn controller until my fist was bloody. I did all these things seriously, focused. I have strong memories of performing these stunts. I wanted to convey to the younger generation that whatever they do, if they make a serious effort, afterward they can enjoy the great sense of exhilaration. But to do so, I felt that I first had to charge into this experience myself, in order to make the idea understood. The staff and cast, all of us were united and putting in a great effort. That's why on location, when we were filming the commercials, there was a good level of tension. I think everyone could see that reflected in our productions. Segata would also do radio spots, live promotional events, a video game based on him, and there would even be a theme song associated with him, Sega Saturn Shiro.
遊びの道に魂込めた一人の男が今日も行く真面目に遊ばぬ奴らには体で覚えさせるぞセガタサンシロセガタサンシロセガサタンシロ
Segata Sanshiro's advertising campaign would help keep Sega Saturn afloat, despite the strong competition from Sony PlayStation and the Nintendo 64. At the end of 1998, as Sega was about to release their next system, Dreamcast, Sega would produce one final commercial featuring Segata Sanshiro, depicting his apparent end.
Segata Sanshiro. Segata Sanshiro. Segata Sanshiro.
Segata Sanshiro は君たちの心に真剣遊戯セガサターン
In 2020, as part of Sega's 60th anniversary, Sega revealed a new ambassador to the brand, Segashiro, the son of Segata Sanshiro. Segashiro would be portrayed by Maito Fujioka, the real-life son of Hiroshi Fujioka.
セガの次はセガだよ
The promotional videos depicted Segashiro promoting the Sega brand wherever he could until he came face to face with the mysterious Hatanshiro, whose goal is to destroy Sega. Hatanshiro being a pun meaning bankrupt. Hatan and Sega fought an epic battle until it was revealed that Hatanshiro was Segata Sanshiro, who tested Segashiro's abilities to see if he was truly ready to spread the good name of Sega. 25 years later, Segata Sanshiro is still regarded as one of the most memorable advertising campaigns from Sega. It wasn't enough for Sega to overcome the setbacks that the Saturn system faced, and after the end of Sega's Dreamcast, Sega would shift their focus away from console development. But in 2020, Segata Sanshiro reminds us that Sega is more than just games. Sega continues to have its pulse all over the entertainment industry. As for people who grew up with the Sega Saturn, they had the gameplay experiences that couldn't be replicated on other consoles at the time, and they had Segata Sanshiro to guide them through their gaming journeys.
Iris! しっかりしろ、アイリス！
お願い、もうレプリフォースに手を出さないで。一緒にレプリロイドだけの世界で暮らしましょう。
アイリス、レプリロイドだけの世界なんて幻だ。
そうよね。でも信じたかった。レプリロイドだけの世界であなたと。
アイリス。アイリス！アイリス！アイリス！アイリス！アイリス！アイリス！俺は一体何のために戦っているんだ
Iris!
Sarah,
Hang in there, Iris.
please stay away from Repliforce. Let's live together in a world where only Reploids exist.
Iris, there's no world just for Reploid. It's only a fantasy.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to believe it. I wanted to live in a world where only Reploids exist with you.
Iris! 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 Ah! No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
Hey, lady! Come on, hit the gas! You're killing me out here!
Jet Moto 2. More tracks, more control, more speed. Take advantage of it.
And turn off the blinker!
PlayStation.
Final Fantasy VII, composed by Nobuo Uematsu. Final Fantasy VII was nothing short of a revolution for the role-playing game genre. After its release, the target audience for RPGs grew significantly, the number of units sold in the Final Fantasy series shot up, and the PlayStation saw an increase in sales outside of Japan due to this game alone. Unlike previous Final Fantasy games, Nobuo Uematsu composed the entire soundtrack for this game in less than a year. And although the PlayStation presented Uematsu with the opportunity to produce music that could never be done on any Nintendo system at the time, he chose to use MIDI sounds via the PlayStation's internal chip. The development team supported this decision as the sacrificed sound quality enabled the rest of the game to be read a lot quicker when played. Uematsu started experimenting with multiple styles of music with the soundtrack to Final Fantasy VI. With VII's much grittier and more sci-fi setting, he gained the opportunity to create a soundtrack that was more distinguishable than anything Uematsu had composed up until that point. The music was composed and revised as he read the script of the entire game. He composed the game using only the piano and the guitar at his disposal. It would take an entire primer episode to highlight all of the more significant pieces of the entire score, because that's exactly how much effort went into enhancing the experience of playing this game through the music. But when highlighting a soundtrack like this, two pieces need to be highlighted. Aerith's theme. Aerith is the first character you see when you start the game. She becomes an important part in Cloud's party, at least in the first of 3 discs. At the end of Disc 1, Aerith is suddenly killed off by main antagonist Sephiroth. After her shocking death, this piece plays, and it continues to play even throughout the battle against Jenova. After the fight, the music still continues until the final scene of Cloud burying Aerith in the water. The music playing immediately after her death, during a boss battle, and the send-off all at once further amplifies the emotional impact her death had on not just her allies, but you, the player. And finally, Uematsu's favorite contribution to the soundtrack, One-Winged Angel, the final battle theme for the entire game. Taking inspiration from classic composer Igor Stravinsky, film composer Bernard Herrmann, and legendary guitarist Jimi Hendrix, Uematsu composed a battle theme unlike any he had ever composed before. Although the entire soundtrack used MIDIs, this piece, for the first time in Final Fantasy franchise, uses recorded vocals. For this piece, he came up with as many movements as he could to fit the theme of impending doom and pieced it all together. He did this so that no one would draw comparisons to any of his previous battle themes for the series. One Winged Angel would wind up becoming arguably Uematsu's most recognizable contribution to the Final Fantasy series and would become Uematsu's favorite battle theme composed for the entire series. Not enough could be said about the Final Fantasy VII music in a short amount of time. Although the sound quality was limited, considering the console the game was developed for, it was still just as impactful to the series as the game itself was. Moments amplified, characters defined, scenarios developed, all with music, midis and all.
You thought they were extinct. They're back. Mutated and far more dangerous. Now they want the Earth back. Only one man with mammoth firepower and a taste for big game can make dinosaurs extinct again. Turok, Dinosaur Hunter.